O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Whitetail Institute of North America, the gold standard for food plots. Realtree, camo hunting, fishing, and land management products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Works, power and garden tools. Fisher's Choice, the ideal solution to live bait. CVA, quality muzzleloader since 1971. QDMA, Quality Deer Management Association. Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs available. And Furminator, the finest food plot implement on the market.
Welcome to a brand new unused Saturday morning. Good morning, boys and girls. Yes, indeed, it's O'Neill Outside, #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the world. And with us this morning is Woman Williams. Oh, my goodness, what a treat. You feel like it's a treat?
I do, I do.
Mighty
yes,
fine.
good to see you.
Yeah, you bet. Well, we've got a lot of things to do this morning. The show's all reversed. We have a very, very special second hour of the program brought to you, presented to you, if you will, or themed. We're going to talk in the second hour about my good friend Théophile Bourgeois in the second hour. So we've moved everything up front. You're listening to us, if you will, on 95.5 FM WSB and 750 on your AM dial over 38 states, and the Sports Broadcast Network from Seattle to L.A., throughout the Midwest, from Miami to Maine, on WEEI Super Sports Station, and we hope you'll join us this morning. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750, or outside the Atlanta calling area, it's 800-972-8255. We're talking fishing, hunting, and outdoors. And during the first hour of the program this morning, we'll have the radio prize package, the Medal of Honor tribute, and, of course, your calls as we lead into the second hour. And further on that, Théophile Bourgeois, he's was the proprietor, owner of Cajun Vista Lodge in Barataria, Louisiana. And on Saturday a week ago, I guess it was the 17th, was it Sunday? Sunday the 18th, he crashed his plane, and Théophile died. And so he was a very, very special person, and I know a lot of you guys went fishing there with Théophile. And we're going to talk about him in the second hour, but until that time comes up, we'll be handling our normal duties here at O'Neill Outside, taking your calls and talking fishing and hunting and outdoors, and we hope that you'll join us. This is O'Neill this morning with Woman Williams, Karen and Brian Green, and the crew at WSB, and we'll be back after this. Facebook too. Woman Williams is here to handle the live Facebook page at O'Neill Outside, should you want to leave questions or comments there, versus at WSB. And versus the telephone number. We've got a call right now. We'll get to him in a moment. But this is one of those times. Here it is, the middle to late August. Fishing is very unusual. A lot of recommendations about that, things to keep in mind, suggestions to be made. But it's time to start thinking about deer hunting. So we have a little segment here coming up that I want you to start thinking in that way, that the deer season is on the way. In Georgia, all across the South, in the Midwest, Alabama's deer season doesn't begin till November for some very special reasons, and we can talk about that if you like. But I would like to make a few simple suggestions this morning about hunting from the ground, hunting from out of a tree or a tower stand. Things for you to do that you may not think of doing that will help you with that, so that you can harvest a deer or have that choice of harvesting a whitetail from the ground. Number one, very unusual. I love these things when you get a surprise. Number one, take a stool. Take a stool to sit on. It can be a low stool, something that you can lean up against a tree, or that you can sit on the stool and lean up against a tree. Sit on a stool. It makes the visit, it makes the hours that you'll stay there much more pleasant. Just a little wooden stool, a little canvas stool, if you will. They make them special. Of course, if you're going to hunt from the ground, use a ground blind. But there's more to it than that. If you're going to put in a blind, put it in the early, way early, according to whatever the recent scouting indicates where you should be. Remember, basics. You hunt from the high in the morning and low in the afternoon, because as the air warms, it climbs, and the air will be coming up the ridge, up from the ground up to you. So you'll likely less be scented in the afternoon. You hunt from low, so that the scent or air currents drift down to you. Just little things like that. And may I make a point that quite often the things we discuss, you and I, here on the radio program, these are long-term things to keep in mind, not for just a given day. I know I mentioned last week about if you hunt a blind, if you hunt a stand, and you hunt one day, and you didn't take the deer you wanted that day, then don't go back to that stand the next day. And I had a lot of people comment at o'neilloutside.com and on my Facebook page and so on that said, that's great, good idea. One fellow said, hey, I disagree. I hunted the stand same day 2 times in a row, and I got the best buck of my life. Okay, good. But you have that option. Over time, leaving that blind vacant the next day would be the best thing to do. Ground blind, inside the blind, clean out all the leaves, the sticks, the debris, scratch it out so it's just dirt. So that when you sit down, when you move, and if it can be a swivel chair in the blind, all the better. But alleviate the noise. When you put the blind up, put some sticks and limbs and leaves and things over it, around it, so that it best suits its environment. Stake down the blind. Make sure that when you're not there and you have a windstorm or a storm, that it doesn't blow away. Simple little things. In the blind, wear dark clothing. Camo's fine. I'm in the blind, I'll just wear a blue shirt. No. Dress accordingly. Number 3, close the blind as much as possible. Don't have big windows in the back of the blind so that the deer might see movement and shadow against the light. Make it a narrow slit. Unless it's archery, make a narrow slit around the blind so that you can see. Make it as dark as possible. That's the way you hunt from the ground with a blind. Now, how about stalking? Wow, can you do that? I've tried it. Never worked for me. Most of my hunting has been in the southeast in thick brush and a lot of trees, vegetation. I can't do that. I can't see that well to stalk. Out west over these fields where deer will bed down in the middle of a field, can you get that done? Absolutely you can, especially with a muley. If there's any one thing for you to keep in mind about that is go as slowly as you possibly can, make yourself travel. 3 days and 3 steps and pause. 3 steps and pause. 3 steps and pause. Does the deer know you're there? Probably. But he may not see you as something dangerous, and he may think you're going to just walk by. It can work. Stay dry. If you're going to hunt from the ground, stay dry. If you're uncomfortable, it will abbreviate the hunt. If you're afraid of heights, it goes without saying, go slowly. Hunting from the ground can be productive. I have before, but I will admit to you that over the last few years, well, more than just a few years, I've hunted out of tower stands. Why? Because most of the time, I have at least one cameraman with me. And if I'm hunting from the ground by necessity, it's a big blind and rather open because there's a cameraman in the blind with me. If you're hunting alone or with a child, a youngster, go slowly. And those are some pretty good tips. Now, where did I get those? Oh, I got those from the Realtree.com website. An outstanding website for you to access. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255, and we'll entertain your calls. Let's see. We'll come back here in a moment. I'll take Don's call. This is O'Neill Outside, and we do this every Saturday morning, most mornings on Saturdays. It's the O'Neill Outside radio program. It's on WSB, and you can hear the show throughout the week on our podcast. Did you know this show was podcasted?
I had a sneaking idea.
Oh, okay. Woman Williams is visiting this morning. Great.
Oh, visiting?
Well, it's been a little while.
It has been. It's been a busy
That's
summer.
okay. It's a busy summer.
Yes, it is. And I don't have that much to do anymore
I wonder why that is.
because you took all my jobs away from me.
I have to wash dishes. I have to cook. I have to vacuum. I have to wash windows.
That was not what I meant.
Oh. All right, we got to get out of here for a break. Don, the rest of you guys hold on. Bill up in Dallas, and we'll be back. Take your calls, and then we'll have the radio prize package. We got a couple of calls we need to get to this morning before we start some of our special activity. Bill is calling from, let me bring him up there. Bill is calling from Dallas, Georgia on O'Neill Outside. I guess it's Dallas, Georgia. What do you think, Bill?
Yes, sir, that is Dallas, Georgia. You are correct.
Okay, sometimes you never can tell. Might be Dallas, Texas. What's going on?
That's right. That's right. My question is, I have never bow hunted, and this year I was not intending to, but a friend of mine has loaned me a crossbow.
Ooh.
So I can get in the woods a little early this year.
Okay, good idea.
So like I said, I've never done it, and I'm going to be purchasing some new broadheads.
Uh-huh.
And my question is, what do you recommend? The fixed blades versus mechanical blades, and weight.
Okay.
What I've read is, you could go up to 150 grain.
Oh yeah.
But I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing here.
Okay, I'm going to qualify my answer to you, and it may be a surprising one, is that I am not an archer, so my opinions about this sort of thing, about the specifics and details about which you asked, I am not qualified to answer. But I do have a recommendation.
Right.
Take that bow and go and visit a local archery shop. And tell them ahead of time. I have the story you just told me. I was given a bow, and I'd like to stop by, and I'll buy my archery accessories from you. The guy's got to make money. A local shop, hands-on local archery shop, will be much, much better for you. He'll be able to measure the draw. He'll let you practice there. He will be able to determine what arrow you shoot best. There's quite a bit to archery, more so than just saying, "Oh, I'll go to Amazon or I'll go to Bass Pro Shop and I'll buy my archery gear." Hey, listen, archery is a hands-on sport.
Right.
And there's several things that you'll get by going to a local archery store versus asking me. I mean, I don't mind you asking, but I'm not qualified to answer those questions. But both of my shoulders have been operated on from a long time ago. I can't pull back anything beyond about 70, and all of my primitive weapon seasons over the last 25 years have involved muzzle loaders. I'm not an archery hunter.
Right.
But you'll get those answers at a local archery shop. Do you know of one near you?
No, I don't know of one off the top of my head. Some friends of mine, they go and they shoot at the Governor's Gun Club, and
Okay.
I don't know if they sell archery stuff there, and they might
yes,
know.
they do.
But I know they have an archery range. Okay.
Yes, they do. And there's several good places like that in the general area in which you're referring geographically. And so go to a good place like that. And because hey, we're all different, and
Right.
what you use with the same bow might be completely different from someone else about your same size.
All right.
So do that, and you'll be much happier, because the thing that you need to hunt with more than anything else is preparation and confidence.
Yes, sir. I agree.
And if you have those two things in your pocket, you'll be successful.
Well, sir, I thank you very much.
You bet. Call anytime.
All
Call
right.
more often. Love to hear from you.
All right.
You bet. Hey, here's our, before we get to anything else, here's our old buddy Don calling from
Ocean Isle, North Carolina.
Good morning, Don. How are you, sir? Are you catching any fish over there?
Well, every once in a while.
Yeah.
And good morning, Miss Gail. This is a treat to have you on this time of morning.
There you are. She doesn't have her headset on, so she didn't hear the fact that you greeted her. She's setting up her. Oh yeah, good morning. She says she's setting up her computer for the Facebook page.
All right.
So
Have
good
some
morning.
fond memories when she was on the show. The special one was about the joke about why is birds in formation longer on one side than the other.
Yeah,
So
how you like that?
we got to laugh out of that at your expense.
Indeed.
Yeah, we're ready for fall fishing. The water's cooling down a little bit, and when it cools down, the kings get more aggressive, and that's always a lot of fun and always a lot of good food on the table if you know how to fix it. So.
You betcha. You bet. It needs to be eaten fresh, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And I got some grouper that we're coming to Oconee again this year.
Oh boy.
And we're going to take those, and they'll go on the grill for.
Oh yeah, you notified me of that. I can't be there, but I'd love to, but I can't this time.
Yeah, well, we'd love to have you there, and you would be a great asset to all the people around there. So, O'Neill, I got a question about deer. I never did deer hunt when I was a kid because there wasn't any deer in Gainesville, Georgia.
Right.
But now we got a bunch around here, and I feed them corn and sort of observe their activity. But we had a couple of fawns and their mother, and all of a sudden the mother disappeared. I don't know if a car got her or whatever. Mm-hmm. But how old does a fawn have to be before they can make it on their own?
Probably about 3 months.
Really?
Yeah, just as soon as they start losing their spots.
Okay.
Not very long. They're as long as they have a food supply and they can run, they maybe outrun a coyote, then they're good. It doesn't take long.
I know back you was talking about kids squirrel hunting the other day. When I was a kid, I was 8 or 9 years old when I had my first J.C. Higgins single shot. And I'd hunt squirrel. And I'd go to the hardwood area, and I'd notice, the squirrel would take a long time to come out. And then I noticed when one of them barked, they'd flick the tail. So I learned how to bark like a squirrel.
Oh, good for you.
And I'd bark, and that told me wherever squirrel was around was, located. So, but like
That's
you
good.
said,
Squirrel, squirrel hunting is a fabulous way to stay in the woods and be productive.
yes, sir. Yeah, and that, of course, that in those days, all the squirrels and the rabbit, we cooked those at least a couple of times a week. So that was not only was it a lot of fun, but it provided food for the family.
You bet. You bet.
Enjoy your show, and you and Gail do a great job, and thank you. And I'm sorry about Bourgeois going. He and Jose Waibe went the same way. So
Yeah, in a plane crash. Yeah, we're going to talk about him in the second hour of the program this morning a lot.
yes, sir. I'm sure that's an enjoyable trip. Was an enjoyable trip to be with him on the water.
Wonderful. Thanks for calling, Don.
Love you guys. Thank you much.
You bet.
Bye.
See you later, my good friend. There we go. All right, time for the radio prize package. The radio prize package. Are you ready for this? You're not. You want me to do it? Okay, the radio prize package, the rules are, if you've ever won a radio prize package before, you cannot win this one. You've got one answer. They were not going to tell you the question again, and you have to be 18 years old. The radio prize package consists of a Bojangles gift card, a Swaggerty's a free voucher for product, Whitetail Institute DVD about how to plant food plots, Angler Magazine, Realtree hat and window decal, Data Sport fishing game forecaster, 2 cans of Fisher's Choice, a Thunder Chicken from Captain Mark Noble, Thorogood boot hat, Arctic Ice freezer pack, 2 packs of bug bands, and a selection of True Turn tackle. And the question is, in the second hour of today's program, we're going to talk about Théophile Bourgeois. What is his full name? That is the question. Take it slowly. What is Théophile Bourgeois' full name? Okay. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Let's see, it's 34 and a half. We've got, let's talk first of all, and we can get it in. Andy's calling from Marietta, Georgia. Andy, good morning. You're on the radio.
Good morning, O'Neill. How are you, sir?
Good.
Hey, I just wanted to, I'm glad I didn't call for that prize pack, because
that's tough.
Idea. But I just wanted to call and say thanks for the prize pack that I received. I finally won one and got it in the mail 2 days ago.
Good.
And I was ripping that box open like a 5-year-old on Christmas Day. And I got the crickets and the hats and the stickers. But I think somebody made a mistake. I was under the impression that there was supposed to be a bass boat and a tough shed down in that box somewhere, and I couldn't find it. So
we just forgot those that time.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, hey, give it to somebody.
I will.
They'll get along. But hey, I just wanted to call to say thank you, brother, and have a good weekend. And I'm gonna take them crickets up to the Lake Allatoona next week.
Yeah, and those bass and the shoreline creatures will bite those things too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we're looking forward to it.
You're going to catch some.
The Arctic Ice Pack, I've been using it during the daytime. Man, that thing is
absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't need to buy ice anymore.
No, sir. That thing is cool.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, O'Neill, have a good morning, man. We'll holler at you later.
You are mighty fine. See you later, pal. Have a good, safe weekend. We'll talk to Milton when we get back, and we'll let's see here. We'll talk to Milton, and then we're going to come back with a Medal of Honor tribute at 40 minutes after the hour. This is O'Neill. Milton will have to hold on a little bit. We're handling a lot of our second hour activities in the first hour of the program. Maybe Milton can hold on through that. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside, the Medal of Honor tribute when we return.
Honor, courage, and strength of character. These qualities are embodied by the recipients of the Medal of Honor. Now let's recognize this week's Medal of Honor recipient on O'Neill Outside.
Lieutenant Colonel William Bauer, Medal of Honor winner. awardee. He's Marine Corps, November 1942, Guadalcanal. Volunteering to pilot a fighter plane in defense of our positions on Guadalcanal, Bauer participated in 2 air battles against enemy bombers and fighters, outnumbering our force more than 2-1. Boldly engaging the enemy and destroyed 1 Japanese bomber in the engagement on September the 28th and shot down 4 enemy fighter planes on October the 3rd, leaving a 5th smoking badly. After successfully leading 26 planes on an overwater ferry flight of more than 600 miles on 16th of October, Bauer, while circling to land, sighted a squadron of enemy planes attacking the USS McFarland. Undaunted by the formidable position and with valor beyond the call of duty, he engaged the entire squadron. And although alone and his fuel supply nearly exhausted, he fought his plane so brilliantly that 4 of the Japanese planes were destroyed before he was forced down from lack of fuel. His fighting spirit and distinctive ability as leader and airman exemplified his splendid record of combat achievement. William Bauer, Marine Corps pilot, Guadalcanal. He died in flight, 1942.
Another true hero.
Oh, boy.
We had a
Yes,
lot
that
of
is a hero. 42 after the hour. This is O'Neill with O'Neill outside. Let's see. We've got to, if I had a name there, we would give away our radio prize package. I'll bet I'll get to him in a minute. Yes, the radio prize package first. And the radio prize, yeah, I got him. Okay. The radio prize package question was to win, what is Tofil Bourgeois' full name? And there's a really smart guy. John is calling from Marietta. Let me bring him up there, fellas. I'm sorry, I'm so inept. There is John from Marietta is on the radio, and he has our answer. Good morning, John.
Good morning, O'Neill. Norris Craft Driver to Norris Craft Driver. We've been listening to you since you got on there the first time.
Oh, my goodness. Man, that's quite a while. We're telling our age, aren't we?
I hear that.
We're telling our age, that's for sure. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, what is Tofil Bourgeois' full name?
Jean-Tofil Antoine Bourgeois.
Yes, you got it with the proper accent. Yeah, and actually it's, I believe it's, I couldn't quite tell if you pronounced it. It is Theophile Jean-Antoine Bourgeois.
Aye.
Yeah,
I heard
so, yeah, you bet. Theophiles is instead of Tofil. He was a prince, and we're devoting the second hour of the program to him today, and it worked out for you that you got a nice radio prize package.
I certainly appreciate it.
You bet. We'll get it to you in a few days, pal. Have a great weekend.
You do the same, and y'all be safe. Kill, good morning.
Good morning to you.
There you are.
Y'all
Wonderful.
y'all have a good one and a safe one.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
That
You
worked,
too.
that worked out really good for John, didn't it, there this morning? All right, Harry, here's our old buddy. He's been holding on quite a while. Here's our buddy, Milton Crabapple. Good morning, Milton.
O'Neill,
Yes, sir.
Milton Crabapple.
Yes, sir. How are we doing?
I'm doing good this morning. Got a little frog in my throat or something. I can't
Oh, yeah?
can't
Well.
talk. I'm having to cough.
Oh.
Anyhow, I've been listening to you, and I had a couple. By the way, I don't know if I told you about Dude. You know, he's been wanting to join the Crabapple Country Club.
Uh-huh. I see.
Thought he might want to start playing golf.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, anyhow, he joined the country club, and he lasted about 5 days, and they threw him out.
Oh, yeah? What happened?
Well, they caught him peeing in the swimming pool.
He just couldn't help it, could he?
Yeah, the lifeguard yelled at him, and it scared him. He almost fell in. Yes, sir. They asked him to leave.
Poor
Yeah, I reckon he'll have to find another place to join. But I was listening to you
Yes, sir.
talking about hunting deer on the ground. Now, you know, I had a couple of comments on that, O'Neill.
Okay, please.
You know, I've been hunting on the ground for about 35 years. I used to hunt out of trees and all, but one thing I like is simplicity. Now, I hunt on the ground on just a stool.
Okay.
That's all I use, and I wear one of them kind of a ghillie suit, if you know what that is.
I do indeed. Got a lot of camo around it. Yeah.
Well, especially your head, you know, that's what deer see is your head and your face, because you're moving your head around. But I'm telling you, I have squirrels and stuff walk right up to you and think they're going to climb up my breeches leg. And I've had deer coming that, you know, they'll walk within 5 or 6 feet of you.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they don't smell you, and sometimes they do, they don't know exactly where you're coming from. It's amazing how close you can get to animals when you're sitting on the ground like that, as long as they can't see your face.
Yes, that ghillie suit really does work, doesn't it? That's a great
It
recommendation.
does. And something else too that helps. Now, if you got a regular stand, one thing I like about it is you can just walk around, find a good place and sit down. Mm-hmm. You ain't got to set up no blind or nothing. You can just walk around and say, I'm going to move over yonder, because if the wind's blowing a certain way, well, you may want to go sit on that side of the hill.
That's right, and you may want to change because the sun, if it's an afternoon, you may want the sun at your back.
That's true, but now something else that I believe is really important, O'Neill.
Okay.
Lots of folks nowadays don't like to walk. They like to drive them four-wheelers right up to where they hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to drive nothing no closer than 150 yards to the spot where you're going to hunt.
I agree.
You don't want to make no noise going down through there. But it's very important, I believe, I've always done it, is to, ahead of time, several weeks before the season, is take a rake and rake out your trail all the way to your stand.
That's a great recommendation.
Take it out all the way down to the dirt, move all the sticks, trim stuff off where you won't snag on nothing walking through the woods, because, you know, you may be, when you're going in the mornings to hunt, especially, that's right during the middle of the peak of feeding time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to go hunt a food plot, well, they may be deer right there out on it while you're coming down to get in your stand. So you got to be quiet. I'm telling you, you got to be able to slip in there without making any noise and sit down. You can't do it if you're walking through the leaves or crunching along on the rocks and stuff. I believe that's a very important thing, is to rake out your trail all the way down to your stand so when you can walk on it just on plain dirt.
Yes, that's a good idea. That's I have had in visiting other places to hunt before a few years ago, they had done that, and I'm recalling it now. That's a really good idea.
You know, deer, he's kind of curious, well, different from a turkey. You know, turkey ain't curious. Deer sometimes will hear something and it look around and maybe see something and go back to what he's doing. Turkey don't do that. Them things are scared to death the minute they come out of the egg.
That's right.
You know, a deer sees a man in the woods and thinks he's a tree stump. A turkey sees a tree stump and thinks it's a man.
Well said.
Yes, sir. Well, I got to get out from here, O'Neill. I got stuff I got to do. Stop by and play checkers if you get a chance.
I will do that too, my good friend. I'll see you soon.
Much obliged.
You bet. Great call. Great call from Milton this morning. What do you have? You have anything from Facebook, honey?
I just have for the gentleman that called about the bow hunting.
Uh-huh.
Someone gave a recommendation. Let me find it. Outdoor Depot in Gainesville.
Okay.
And asked for Pat or Ryan.
Okay.
They are great bowsmiths.
Okay.
I hope he's still listening.
Outdoor Depot.
Outdoor Depot. I've not heard of that.
I'm not familiar with that. In Gainesville?
It says Gainesville.
Okay.
Yeah. Pat,
good. I'm glad they called.
Pat or Ryan.
Pat or Ryan. You need to do that locally. Fashion your hunting, archery hunting with a local guy. It turns
And,
out much better.
I just got a text from our friends Gary and Susan McCormick. They're on the way to the airport. They're going to Alaska to go salmon fishing.
Oh, man, McCormick, he never misses an opportunity.
Yeah, but they're going now instead of with us.
Oh, boy. Well,
They can go both times.
yeah. They'll just go both times.
Go both times. There you go.
50 minutes after the hour, you're listening to O'Neill Outside, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255 at 95.5 AWSB and on 95.5 on your FM dial, 750 on your AM dial, and throughout the country on the SB, the Sports Broadcast Nation, WEEI in the Northeast and all across the country. So there you are. I say if you don't have anything, I think I've got time for this one. Let's talk to Wade. I think is coming up. Good morning, Wade. You're on the O'Neill Outside Show. Welcome.
Good morning, O'Neill. How you doing this morning?
Good. Great.
I just hit her on email. My buddy Jonathan Spittler has moved up to Alaska.
Oh.
And he's bought a boat, and he goes out there and he collects the salmon from people catching the commercial fisheries and hauls the salmon back to the market.
Oh, how about that? What a job.
He's got he's a little younger than I am. Good friends with, he's David's son's best friend. Mm-hmm. Looks just like Kelso on the 70 show if you got a good picture of him.
Oh, okay.
But he went up there to live a dream. He drives out there in a boat and loads up with all these fish and hauls them back right there in Ringgold, Alaska.
How about that? What an adventure.
He got I just hit Loman Williams up on Facebook, told her to check him out, give her his web address.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Got some good pictures, though. I mean, really good pictures. I mean, it's pretty up there.
Oh, man.
But he goes out with all this ice and these totes, and he gets the salmon and he takes them back and to the market. I guess he's the middleman.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Well, that's perfect capitalism, providing a service and making money out of it.
And living a dream.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely.
It's so pretty up there. I mean, he was showing pictures of it's Ringgold, R-I-N-G, like Ringgold, North Georgia, up there by Dalton.
Uh-huh.
And he goes out there and picks them up and takes them back. But he has some beautiful pictures.
How about that? Well,
I remember when he first started deer hunting. I ain't never killed no deer. Well, come on over here at the farm and kill one over at Waltz.
Yeah.
I put him down there on that second stand right below about the third terrace. Mm-hmm. Look, they're going to walk out there in that bottom down there, and they're going to eat. And don't shoot the first one. Wait, there's more than one out there. Dad made me kill two the first time he ever shot one.
There you go. How about that? Well, I got to go, Wade. Thanks for calling, sir, and for listening to the program and participating. I really do appreciate it.
Well, I'll get back with you. I found out a little bit more about these Roosevelt elk up here in Kentucky.
Oh, I got to go, and I want to know about that. Call next week, will you?
I promise.
You bet. All right, this is O'Neill Outside, 53 after the hour, and we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. 57 after the hour. We've got a special hour planned coming up. First hour's almost done. And what a celebration it is to talk to Donna, calling from Hall County. Good morning, Donna. You're on the air. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm the woman that hates coyotes that calls
Yes,
in.
I understand. I remember.
I gave my first gift box to my cousin who has little boys, and they loved fishing at St. Simon's with that.
Good.
And so I gave the second gift box to the daughter of people. I was at the Source of All Great Truths yesterday, a hair salon.
Okay.
And remember? And I gave this to a girl, a daughter of people there. And last year she had loved fishing. She was not a teenager. She is now a teenager.
Oh, I see.
And she loved hats, but she said girls don't fish. And I was so shocked. I hardly knew what to say. And she said to me, "Do you know any ladies that fish?" And I said, "My goodness, no, but I know who to call to throw out the challenge." I am challenging you and all your listeners. What do you do with a little girl that preteen thinks it's fun and exciting to go fishing, ocean fishing, and then now that she's 13, it's not what girls do? And I couldn't tell her. I know no ladies that fish at all.
I see.
And I just thought I would throw that out as a challenge. What do we do? I had no solution, and it was the universal discussion at the hair salon yesterday that it is a challenge.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I would tell her to make friends with a guy who's wearing a fishing cap.
She says they're not her age. I said,
well,
you have
no,
all
they're
these
not.
cute hats. Can you share them? And
well,
she
the only
says
thing only thing I would say beyond the cap would be that the cap be turned forward.
She tried that. I said, did you turn it around? She said, Miss Donna, girls don't fish. And I said, this can't be a declarative sentence. There has
Donna,
to be a solution.
I'm sorry, baby. I've got to go. I'm up against a hard break.
Think about it.
We will do that. We will do that, too. This is O'Neill. Another hour of outdoors headed your way. CVA presents Real Tree Radio. Welcome to a brand new, unused Saturday morning. We have welcome to the second hour of O'Neill Outside. We have arranged for most of our segments to be handled in the first hour, because this hour of O'Neill Outside this morning is going to be devoted to the subject of a good friend who passed away this past Sunday. His name was Théophile Jean-Antoine Bourgeois III. People called him Tophil, and he was the owner and operator of Cajun Vista Lodge. And once we get back from this opening segment, I'm going to read a little bit about him, and then I hope maybe that those of you who were fortunate enough to visit Cajun Vista, to know Tophil, to have met Tophil, that you might have comments with regards him. And while we might deviate from some other subjects, I'd appreciate calls about that in the second hour of the show. This is the least I can do about him, is to offer this tribute of an hour of nationally televised, well, it's televised on Facebook worldwide, but to talk about him on WSB 95.5 WSB and 750 AM nationally, along with the Sports Broadcast Network, and maybe just as a tribute to Tophil and talk about him for a few minutes or for the second hour of the program. This is telephone numbers are, should you like to participate, 404-872-0750 in the Atlanta area, and outside and worldwide is 800-972-8255. Translates to 800 WSB Talk, TALK, but 800-972-8255. And when we return, I've got a little thing to read about Tophil, and then we'll accept your calls if we can round those up, and then I'll be most gratified. And we'll have Woman Williams start after I do that. This is O'Neill, the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the world. Today, this hour, for Tophil Bourgeois. We'll be back. Well, before we get to our tribute, if you will, for the next hour, let's get something really productive, and then we'll talk about that in a moment. But right now, let's talk to Mac. He's got some fishing reports for us and can help us out in the area lakes. Good morning, Mac. What do you say?
Good morning, O'Neill. How you doing?
Good.
Well, fishing's been good, man.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, striper fishing's been good all over, just across the board. And, you and I have talked about this so many times. It's hot. They won't bite, right? No. This is time to go. We get some things happen. Yeah, they'll pile up. And this year seems to be as good or better than most August. So it's tough because we got a lot of things tugging on us. Football's coming in, deer season's right around the corner. A lot of guys thinking about dove season, and all that's good. So it's a tough call, but fishing's good, and you might ought to squeeze a couple more Saturdays out of it before you get your guns out. So
fantastic. Yeah, you got them sort of cornered there at those levels, don't you?
Yeah, they're piled up on here, particularly on the south end, but most of the big reservoirs. And I've talked to guys on other lakes around the southeast. I'm getting the same report. Good live bait bite on the downlines, good trolling bite, umbrellas, downriggers, lead core, whatever, kind of whatever your method of choice is. So but definitely get out there. Bass fishing is okay. Actually, I think it's good for this time of year. August has never been one of our better months. And we get a lot of the really big spots. Get out there and suspend. They might be over 100 feet. They're 30 feet deep, but they're single fish or very small groups, very difficult to target. So we've got a percentage of our bass that are out over open water that make it tough. But still, you can go up there with a drop shot if you just want to catch some fish. And the same is true on a lot of lakes. Just get on main lake structure, get the thermocline, drop your worm down there, video fish, you'll catch them.
Okay. Mighty good report. I appreciate that, Mac. So how can people get in touch with you and give it a try once or twice more before the deer season begins?
They can find us at CaptainMax.com. That's CAPTMACKS, or it's 770-271-0851. And want to touch on the main subject today. I was never fortunate enough to meet Tofield. I knew him through you.
Mm-hmm.
I do have customers that had spent time at Cajun Vista. And
good.
Really, the experience was very beyond good from a fishing standpoint and a social standpoint, and of course from a culinary standpoint.
Oh yeah.
Those Cajuns know how to do it, but it's always sad to see a member of our fishing community, and particularly somebody like him who, moved the sport forward and just really did a good job. So, sad to see, and prayers for his family. And, I know he's a friend of yours, so we hate to see him go.
Oh, you bet. All right, Mac, have a great weekend, pal. Stay in touch as always.
Do the same, my friend. Talk to you next week.
You bet. Sure, you bet. Okay, permit me a moment. I'm going to read a little bit about Tofield and then entertain calls from Hank and David and Mark and a lot of people. That's what this hour of the show is. But if you're not familiar with him, let me tell you about Théophile Jean-Antoine Bourgeois III. He was truly a Renaissance man. He left this world on August the 18th, 2019, doing what he loved best in his seaplane. It was a tragic accident when he crashed. He took his captain's oath to the grave. Listen to this, honey. Ensuring the safety of his two passengers over his own, and one last act of nobility. He was born in 1964. Theophilus Bourgeois Jr. and Helen Seviers Bourgeois. Tofield was a man who mastered everything he touched, and he did. His hands and mind knew no limits. An avid fisherman and outdoorsman, a master carpenter, a cunning businessman and entrepreneur, an inventor, and a larger-than-life television personality. Tofield was a patient father and grandfather who always took time to teach his son and his grandsons everything he knew, and was always eager to share his knowledge with anyone willing to listen. He built his sport fishing empire, and it was that, bourgeois fishing charters from the ground up, and he set the standard for those to follow. Always reinventing himself and his business strategies, Bourgeois was in a constant state of self-improvement and was always eager to help everyone around him with a smile. Anyone who knew him knew of his sincerity and compassion, a man whose work ethic was only rivaled by his humor and kindness. Anyone who crossed paths with Tofield was forever left with a story they were eager to share.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
All right, now let's amplify that. It's 17 after the hour. Let's talk to Hank the Yank. Good morning, my good friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine this morning. I was sad to hear the news. But before I talk about that very briefly, that caller you had before the top of the hour about the young lady and fishing.
Yes.
Donna.
Okay, so there is OBX Fly Fishing, Captain Sarah Gardner. Not only is she a female fisherman, she may be one of the top fly fishermen, saltwater fly fishermen, and light tackle. She does both conventional and fly fishing in the United States. She's that popular. She gets hired to go to all the shows throughout the country every year and do talks and give seminars. She is caught from tarpon to sailfish to redfish and everything else on both fly and light tackle. She is a marvelous young lady. She's probably in her 50s, and she guides out of both Harkers Island, North Carolina, and up at Nags Head, North Carolina.
Okay, what is her name again, please?
Captain Sarah Gardner. I put it on the
Sarah
Facebook
Gardner.
page.
Okay.
I put it on the Facebook page for you guys. And the other thing is the lady that called, Georgia Women Fly Fishers. There was a club here in Georgia called the Georgia Women Fly Fishers Club, and she can look all up about that, and she can. It's all a bunch of wonderful gals here in North Georgia that are very serious fly fishermen in both fresh and salt water.
Good, excellent information.
Anyway, so let me get back. I didn't know Tofield. Obviously, I'd never had the opportunity to go down there, but I kind of felt like I knew him through both you and my dear friend Hal Coleman, who used to prepare for those trips, and we'd call and talk about. He was always so excited to be going to that lodge with you guys. And the one thing I've kind of likened him to, O'Neill, is you meet some people in your lifetime that push the needle further than anybody else. And you and I were talking off the air the other night, and this gentleman, Tofield, in his section, his region in the country, was a superstar. I mean, this guy
absolutely.
was like Jose Wahebe from the Spanish Fly, who lost his life in an airplane accident as well. But what made, and he used to take off his air, just to give people out there a likening to the two. So where Jose Wahebe would take his plane and fly over the Keys, looking for schools of tarpon so that he could take his anglers fishing of where the big schools of tarpon would be.
Right.
Tofield pushed the needle by taking a seaplane, taking people out to the Chandelier Islands, which is a place off of Louisiana coast where redfish never saw a fly or a lure in their life.
Correct.
We were fishing almost Alaska-type waters here in Louisiana, and he kind of pushed that envelope to the lengths, and you just find people out there that think outside the box, that are so creative, and I wished I had gotten to meet this gentleman, because what an angler he must have been.
It would have been a blessing to you to have known him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I can only, like I said, I've only heard stories from you and from Hal, and just I almost felt like I kind of knew him, even though I had never met him, just because you guys had spoken about him so highly over the years, so many times.
He was absolutely one of a kind, and superstar status is not exaggerated.
Yeah,
in this
I
case.
agree.
No,
I agree.
Very, very obvious. All right. Well,
Absolutely.
listen. Before I let you go,
all right, hurry.
I promised you one quick joke for the college football season. So here we go.
Go.
There's a UGA grad sitting at a bar next to a Florida grad sitting at a bar, and they're watching the 6 o'clock news, and they're seeing a man on a bridge. And the guy from UGA grad looks at the guy from Florida and says, "I bet you that guy jumps off the bridge. I'll bet you $10."
Oh.
The Florida grad says, "I'll take that bet." 2 seconds later, the guy jumps. The Florida grad hands over the $10 bill, and the UGA grad, being ethical, says, "Pal, I can't take your money. I watched that same broadcast at 5 p.m., so I kind of knew he was going to do it."
We're deviating from a normal schedule on O'Neill Outside this morning in tribute to Tofield Bourgeois. And taking calls on that subject, let's talk now to Hal is calling about Tofield. Good morning.
Hey, O'Neill, how you doing this morning?
Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I sure been bummed out about old Toefield. I guess I've been down there 3 or 4 times, and we're going again in a few weeks.
Yes.
It'll be kind of mixed emotions there, but I the thing that killed me about him is his sense of humor. My son Jason and I go down there every year with you and your group, and the first time we went down there was nobody there when we got there except Toefield.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I said, that's Toefield. And he was just like one of,
he's one of the crew.
The guy working, and y'all follow me. Come on over here. I got to get some ice, And he just, you were just a member of Toefield's family the minute you set foot on the property.
Absolutely.
And he, something funny that I liked, I have to tell this story. I asked him about how he prepared that redfish on the half shell.
Uh-huh.
So he looked around, make sure nobody was looking. He said, "Come here, come on back here. I'm gonna show you how I do this." And he showed me his secret recipe, all the things that he put on it. He said, "Now don't tell nobody. Now don't tell nobody." I said, "I won't tell nobody." Well, come to find out, he took everybody in there and gave them his secret recipe and told them not to tell anybody.
Typical Toefield.
But I took my redfish home and used his recipe on it, and it's just absolutely incredible. And every time I have some, I feel like old Toefield's sitting there with me, sharing it.
You bet. I know I'll never forget him.
Yep. Feel really privileged to be a part of his group, there. So I just wanted to share that story with you this morning.
Well put. Glad you called, pal.
All right. Have a good one.
You bet. See you later. Here's on line number 3 is David. And David fished with Toefield also, I believe. Good morning, David. This is O'Neill.
Good morning, O'Neill. How are you this morning?
Good.
Me and Vicky are sad to hear this news of Toefield.
Yes, indeed.
We last year going down there, actually, I think he was out visiting a sick relative or
That's
something.
Right. His brother was ill last year.
His brother,
when
yeah.
We were there,
and we didn't really get to meet him, but most of the time we were down there, everything that people spoke of him and everything we've heard, just can't imagine the type of person he was, and being down there amongst all his people and in that group, and it just felt so, warm, and all the people were just so kind, and I couldn't imagine the way he got that place started was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. So people will know he had the farsightedness to purchase an old schoolhouse.
A school, yeah.
That schoolhouse was 102 years old, and he renovated it and turned it into the Cajun Vista Lodge.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience when we went down, and we were always talking about going again, and the most y'all talked about going out on the plane, that kind of excited us as well, thinking, hey, let's take a stab at that, and I'd love to go out and do that. So, but just wanted to call in and give you a shout this morning, and
I appreciate that.
It was definitely an experience, and we're sorry to hear all this, and I'm sure his legacy will definitely live on down there, no doubt.
Oh yeah, bigger than ever. We'll go again, David.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
You bet, pal.
All right, we're going down to St. Simon's next week.
Oh, good.
Going to go down and do some redfish and trout. A friend of mine starting up a charter business. We're going to give him a shot and maybe even go up in Christmas Creek.
Okay. Be sure and call me back. Let me know how your trip runs.
I will.
You bet. Thanks, pal.
Well, thank you, sir. Talk to you soon.
You bet.
All righty. Bye.
All right, here's Mark in Camden County. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, O'Neill. Yeah, David, come on down next week. You'll have fun.
Hey,
it's been pretty good. Yeah, I've got your outdoor show on TV set on my divots.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I stay so busy. Whenever I have stuff I want to watch, that's about the way I got to do it because I stay so busy. Get to watch things when I got time.
You bet.
But I got to know Mr. Bourgeois through your outdoor show, and it was one of the things on my bucket list to get done. And now, regrettably, that's one thing I'll never be able to go do. Actually go to Cajun Vista and meet that man, which is one thing I fully intended to do. And I got to know him through your show.
Well, I hope so.
At least a little bit. Yeah. Seemed like a wonderful man, faith-based, very well-grounded, good family man, and just a major loss for the outdoors community in general, much less his family and everybody else. But,
he took that camp and the food, the lodging, the fishing, the flying. He took that up another level that no one else had reached at all.
Yeah, you were there a number of times and had a number of shows there, and that's one of them I always watched. I always said to myself, I've got to go do that, and I just never have. And now I've got a regret, which kind of plays along another line. When you've got things that you want to do like that, people that you want to go meet, go do it. Don't fiddle around and get yourself so busy. Now I feel at a loss because it's something that I'll never be able to do.
Good advice.
Rest in peace, Bourgeois. I'm sure he's on one of those great big redfish flats in the sky now, probably smiling down at all of them. So.
You bet. And laughing all the way. Thanks for calling, Mark.
Have a good weekend.
You bet, pal. Okay, you got anything over there on Facebook for Tofield, honey?
No, not yet. But,
okay.
When you get a chance, I have something I'd like to say.
All right, let's talk to Mike. He's been holding on for about 20 minutes. Good morning, Mike. This is O'Neill. You're on the radio. Welcome.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Outstanding.
Good. Well, you know, O'Neill, I don't know. I guess we've been going for 10 or 12 years. I don't know how long. I can't remember. I'm getting old. But that old boy was one of those people you meet in your life that, you meet a lot of people when you've been here a while, and you just, some people just, you don't think about them much more. But he's one of those guys where you meet him and you'll never forget him.
Absolutely.
And,
completely unique.
I think that, I think the guy was one of those people that had never met a stranger, and I've met several people like that in my life. But he's one of those guys that never. Ohio was saying that he walked in there. Like you already know him and you had never met him. I hate the gentleman that just was talking to you. I hate that he missed out on the opportunity because he sure would have been blessed for it, like you said.
Oh yeah. Well, how many times have you and I been down there to see Tofield?
I don't know. How many years has it been?
Well, I don't know. It's been, 8 or 10 years?
8 or 10 probably, and it's the same every time. He's just as friendly and professional is another word I would use to describe him.
Yes.
And just smart about everything, and you can tell with the people that work for him down there too, that run the lodge and do the different jobs, and the people that cook, and they're all the same. They have his personality, and it shows that he was a great leader.
Well put, Mike.
And just he will be missed.
Oh boy, I remember. I think I don't know, but you may have been sitting in there with me one day. I think it might have been you or Kevin, but we had gone to bed that night late, like 11:30 at night. We had made it a long day, and I believe it was the two of us, and we had gotten up real early. And we were having coffee about 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and the first person to walk in the kitchen that day to start breakfast was Tofield.
Yeah. And I said, well, are you sure you can cook? He said, what are you talking about, man?
That's right. He's a Cajun man. He can cook.
I said, I've never met one of them folks that can't cook. So
That's exactly right.
He was definitely a special guy, and it's one of those deals where my son was the first one that found out about what had happened to him, and he had texted me and said, "Did I hear about Tofield?" And I said, "No." And then I talked to him on the phone, and he told me, and I said, "Well, I kind of sat there in shock for a few minutes. And
yeah, me too.
You know, as we all did, I'm sure. And you know, I do consider Tofield a friend. We've known each other for quite a while, and he's one of those people that it makes a mark on you, and you don't forget about it. I tell people about him all the time.
Yeah, right. He was one of the people that you said, hey, I met a guy by the name of Tofield Bourgeois. I wish you could meet him. We visit every year, and man, what a great time we have. I bet that's been said a million times.
Oh, I don't doubt it. And you know, well, first of all, you never can forget him because of the name. I mean, right. I know. The first time we met, it's like, well, what's your name again? You know, Tofield, Antoine, John Bourgeois. Yeah. He said, well, you know, just say, you know, how you Tofield.
Yeah.
I said, okay.
I got you. All right, Mike, I got to go, pal. Have a great weekend here.
All right. You too. Thank you,
You
sir.
bet. See you later. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. As a reminder, you're listening to and on Facebook watching O'Neill Outside, the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the country on WSB 750 95.5 FM and the Sports Broadcast Radio Network nationwide. The second hour of our program, in which we're in the midst of right now, is a verbal tribute to the memory of Tofield Bourgeois, who passed away in a plane crash last Sunday, the 19th. And Gail, what do you want to tell us about Tofield?
Oh, gee, what a great guy.
Yeah.
My relationship with him was mostly on the telephone when we were doing the show from WSB, and I was call screening. It was always such a pleasure to talk to him. And figuring out what he was saying, because he had a wonderful Cajun accent.
Yes, he did.
And every time I met him, which I guess it was 2 or 3 times I met him at, I believe it was ICAST.
ICAST show.
And he always wanted me to come down with you. And I did not for a number of years. So this year I decided I'm going to go with O'Neill. I'm going to go down there and experience this for myself. I waited too long.
Well,
I want everybody to understand that we don't really know what happened on Sunday, but Tofield was a very experienced pilot.
Oh, yes.
And without a doubt, he did everything he could to save his passengers, his charter, and, of course, himself. But from what we understand, he probably sacrificed himself to be sure those people were safe. And they had some minor injuries. But again, we don't know. They think it was weather related. And I think one of the things I read was the last transmission was that he said it's pretty rough, but I'm going to make it. One of the things that I have, in reading stories about him online and what have you, as someone said, I believe it was Henry, he was a superstar, and he was.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things, and I mentioned this to you last night, on his obituary, they said he was memorable and really unforgettable. And I think if you look at all of the comments that have been made about him today, that's exactly right. He was one of the most unforgettable characters, like that Reader's Digest. Remember that, my most unforgettable character? I believe that would be Tofield. And the people in that little community were, is it Lafitte?
Lafitte. That's where the funeral's in Lafitte.
Yeah, but that's the community where he grew up, I believe.
Yes.
And is that different from Barataria?
They overlap.
Okay. In what I have been reading online, the people down there are absolutely devastated. I mean, he was a superstar there, without a doubt. Good to everybody. Everybody loved him. And if you'll go to his Facebook page or... I think he has a website also.
Oh, yeah.
And read the reviews. Read the reviews.
He was one of the very first ones years ago to harness the internet.
Yeah.
And he booked The website is NewOrleansFishing.com. I mean, how broad can that get?
Really,
See?
yeah.
That's how smart he was.
He had vision.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
NewOrleansFishing.com.
And if you want to read about him some more, pretty much what O'Neill has already read to you was his obituary. But just go to Google his name and put in Tofield Bourgeois funeral and read some of the comments that people have left on there. It's heartbreaking. His mother now has lost 2 sons because his brother was dying when you were there last year. And but he did leave a very fine son and 2 grandsons.
Yeah.
And the love of his life, Ginger. I can't imagine what they're going through down there. But we're going to go. We're going in October.
Absolutely.
And we're going to make the best of it. We're going to be happy. We're going to have fun.
Everybody there was always around him. Everyone who worked there. There was never any complaints. There was never any griping. There was never any. It was never anything but pleasant all the time.
A lot of laughter.
Oh yes, I remember so many times. Tofield has gotten up at 4:30 in the morning, helped cook breakfast, helped serve breakfast to 20, maybe 25 guys, fished the majority of the day, and then came in and cooked supper himself.
Yeah. Laughing all the time.
And laughing.
I've seen videos.
Yeah, he called me Daddy-O.
Yeah.
I'm sure he called a lot of people Daddy-O. So, hey, Daddy-O.
Oh, what a guy. What a guy. And just one last thing that I'll say. We've talked about how he set the bar on fishing charters. I think he set it as high as it can be set now for fishing charters. I can't imagine.
Anybody who does anything there now in Barataria and that part of fishing, rightfully or wrongfully, will be accused of, and this is not bad, of copying Tofield.
Yeah.
Following Tofield.
It'd be wonderful. It's a wonderful example for other young people to see what he did with his life, and by having such a wonderful attitude about everything, and just being a joy to everybody. I mean, really and truly, I thought that really summed it up last night. He was unforgettable.
I'd been there. I've been to Cajun and Vista Lodge probably 10, 12 times.
Oh yeah,
at least. And one of the things, isn't it funny when you chat about this, it causes you to remember things. And I can never remember, and with the groups like that we go, there's anywhere 18, 20, 25, 28 people. There's always somebody to ask, can I do this? Can I do that? Can we arrange this? Can we arrange that? And a lot of that, because these people that go with us aren't local, so they had questions. Can we do this? Can we? He never, ever said no.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, we can do that. What is it you want to do? We can do that.
He was also a hunter.
Oh, yeah.
He was a master fisherman, but also hunting. I'm sure he's probably a master at that, too.
One of the funniest things, I was fishing with Tofield, and I hope I can describe it, when you're fishing in the marsh, it's not just water. You're fishing around grass islands that the island itself is only a foot above the water level, but it's got tall grass on it. And Tofield is funny. Tofield and I, we were fishing. We were shooting a show, and I think this was in the show. We're shooting a program, and I look over to one of the islands, must have been 1,000 yards away, and it's on fire. The smoke is the grass it's all on fire. And I said, Tofield, oh look, man, that somebody set the prairie on fire over there. He said, they rabbit hunting. What? He said, yeah, you set one end of the marsh on fire and the rabbits run to the other side. They all got little black feet.
Oh, my gosh. That's
All
great.
the rabbits got little black feet.
From running through the burning brush.
Running away from the fire.
Oh, my.
Oh, he was, what a prince. Let's see if I've got any other, no other calls about him.
But for anybody that would like to read more about that, and just Google Tofil Bourgeois.
Tofil Bourgeois. His
And
name
it'll
is
come up.
spelled Bourgeois. Bourgeois.
I did notice on the funeral announcement, it does have him listed as Tofil, not Theopolis. Did you know that?
How do they spell it?
Tofil.
Tofil.
Yeah, not Theopolis.
Tophile?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, that's how people knew him, but that wasn't his name.
I know, and I realize that, but I was just saying that is how they listed
Theophilus.
it. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Jean Antoine Bourgeois.
Bourgeois.
And there is now a Tofil and John Antoine Bourgeois the Fifth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
His first little grandson.
Oh, man.
What a legacy.
You bet. Think of he showed me one day. I've forgotten which flood it was or which hurricane it was, a Katrina, whatever. And we were sitting in the dining room there, and you eat on picnic tables.
Mm-hmm.
And the seat on the picnic table was different color from the top of the picnic table. Okay? And I asked him, I said, hey, did you refinish the seats here or what? He said, no, that's where the water level was during the last hurricane.
Oh, my gosh. In his kitchen, the downstairs area?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Flooded up higher than the seats on the picnic tables.
Yeah, wow. Unbelievable. And then, of course, a lot of people don't know about how he helped with the oil cleanup when we had the oil leak down there. Remember, he invented some kind of a net or something that.
I'll tell you,
how far are we close to a break?
We've got time for this. Okay. He during the oil spill, thousands of workers came there to help get the oil off the water. And the lodge, he housed 62 people in the lodge, lodged, and fed 62 people. He invented a hydraulic reach, we'll call it, something to grab the nets and pull the net boat to get the oil off the water. He invented that. And he told me, he said he went to one of the contractors that was there to get the oil off the water, and he told me, he says, the guy wanted I wanted to sell it to him. He said, no, I'll lease it from you by the day. And he said, I don't know what to charge. The guy said, well, write down how much you want per day for this unit. And he said, I want 2 more of them. I want 3, but how much will you rent it to me? And so Tofil told me he wrote down on a little piece of paper, he wrote $300. And he slid it over to the contractor, and the contractor smiled, and he took the piece of paper and added another 0. And slid it back, and he said, I want those 3 units working here for 100 days. So Tofil got $9,000 a day for 100 days for those units he invented.
And it helped clean up that water.
And it cleaned up that water. He bought 16 center console boats to haul the workers in and out of Barataria. And when they came back in, he fed them and gave them a place to sleep. And when the oil spill was over, he sold all the boats.
That's the kind of guy he was.
Yep.
Taking care of his community.
That's Tofil Bourgeois. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you don't mind our taking the last hour of this week's program to talk about a very special friend. A very special, smart, funny, inventive, all those superlatives. His name was Théophile Bourgeois. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to add one thing.
Okay.
You heard me say earlier that he always wanted me to come down when you were fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally planned to do it, and I had waited too long, and that's a good lesson for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Don't wait when there's something you want to do, because you never know. Now, I'll never get to experience that, and that makes me very sad.
Yeah, he would have made time.
Oh, yeah.
For you.
I have no doubt. Because he was really sincere in wanting me to come down. I could tell that, I could tell. So don't put off what you want to do, what you should do, because you never know.
He was, now think about this. It's a fish camp, okay? It's a fish camp in Barataria, Louisiana. He could sleep 62 people and feed 62 people. He had 2 planes, a hot tub, 18 boats with guides, and he fed in the only the only bad thing about visiting Théophile was you had to listen to that awful New Orleans music. That squeeze box music. And I told him every time, can we play something else? No, we can't.
And what was it he told you that, if you have time to tell it, he told you that time about when you said you had a hard time understanding the Cajun things,
yeah.
and he said something about there's places I go.
That's right. He told me, and we'll get, there are places in Louisiana 20 miles from Barataria that because I told him, I can't, when you're talking to another one of your Cajun buddies, I can't understand what you're saying. He said, there are people 20 miles from here that speak English that I can't understand.
Wouldn't you love to hear some of that?
Oh, my goodness.
I love going and just watching the videos like I've done this week, just to hear his laughter.
This is O'Neill, along with Woman Williams, Karen and Brian Green, the staff at Sports Broadcast Network, and we'll see you guys next week.